Hey guys, I'm Sulia from War Weekly, and today we'll be taking a look at Socrethar the Eternal in Heroic Hellfire Citadel. These tactics also apply to the normal version. This is a two-phase encounter in which you will have to deal with the soulbound construct in one phase and with Socrethar in the other phase. The construct has 4 abilities. The first one is Reverberating Blow, which will deal a large amount of physical damage in a cone towards the tank, so you will want to face him away from the raid. This has a second effect called Shattered Defense, which is a stacking debuff increasing all damage taken from Reverberating Blow by 200%. It will distribute 3 stacks of the debuff to anyone close to the tank. This means that if no one is close to the tank will get all 3 stacks. To deal with this, we had the tank soak 2 blows in a row. For the first one, they did not need any cooldowns, but for the second blow, they did. The next ability is Fell Prison. A ring on the floor will spawn, and anyone that gets hit by it will be put into a prison for 30 seconds. They will be linked to a crystal via a chain, and the crystal will need to be broken. Simply move out of the prison before it activates, because you don't want to waste DPS on this crystal. The next ability is Volatile Fell Orb. This will be put on a random player, and they will get a green arrow above their head. They should move away from the rest of the group because an orb will be thrown at them, dealing damage to anyone near the player. The construct will also put a dot on random players called Overwhelming Power. This will have to be healed up. The final ability is Fellblaze Charge. With this, he will target a random player and charge after him. This charge will leave a line of fire behind him, meaning your group will have to move. In phase 1, we started on the side of the room. If a player got targeted by the charge, they moved to the left. If they got targeted by the orb, it didn't matter much where they moved as long as they moved out of the raid. And then finally, if a prison got put on the raid, we all moved to the right. Once you defeat the construct, Socrethar will come out and you will have to battle him. One player will be able to take over the construct, and this should be one of the tanks. The construct will have all of the abilities except for the dot. The construct can still harm the players, so don't accidentally put your raid in a prison or in a fire line. Socrethar himself will have 2 abilities. Exert Dominance, with which he will damage the construct for 10% health, can and needs to be interrupted. This is because once the construct reaches 1 health, Socrethar will go back in it and you will have to go back to phase 1. His second ability is Apocalypse. This is a 10-second raid-wide AoE which will deal damage to everyone in the raid. The reason you will need the construct in this phase is because of 3 types of portals that will spawn adds. You will want to use the construct to help with them. First off, there's the purple portals. These will spawn Sagare's Shadowcallers. They put Shadow Word Agony dots on random players. This dot can be dispelled. They also cast Shadow Bolt volleys, which can be interrupted. Secondly, there's the blue portals, which spawn Hunting Souls. These will fixate on random players, and if they reach them, they will explode for a massive amount of damage and fear anyone nearby for 8 seconds. Finally, there's the red portal that will spawn a Sagare Dominator. This ad will make Socrethar immune to all damage and interrupts. Every single DPS should switch to this as soon as possible because the longer it is up, the more damage it will do to the construct. The Dominator will also put a pulsing debuff on random players. This debuff will deal damage to anyone near you, so if you get it, get away from the rest of the group. This fight has been hotfixed, which might force you to change the way you deal with phase 2. You can use all of the abilities from the construct on the adds, including the prison. Before the hotfix, you used the construct to prioritize getting rid of the Haunting Souls. However, because of the hotfixes, more Dominators will spawn, meaning you'll be likely to go back into phase 1 one more time. If you just had the construct deal with the souls, it would mean that you would have to deal with them once phase 1 started again. So now instead, we just have the construct leave the flames from the charge in line between the portal and the raid, and then have Destruction Warlocks kill the souls when they spawn. This gives the construct more time to deal damage to the boss himself and the Dominator when they spawn. You do not want the construct charging over the souls when they are up, as they will deal massive amount of damage on the construct when he is within 5 yards of them. The Shadowcallers should be dealt with by the raid. Let a ranged player interrupt them and let your tank taunt them. You can assign a few DPS to kill them, but you can also passively cleave them down as you're dealing damage to Socrethar. When the construct reaches 1 health, Socrethar will go back in it and you go back to phase 1. The adds that are still alive will stay and you will have to deal with these as well. However, if your raid can kill the Dominators quickly enough, you can get through the encounter without ever switching back to phase 1. Should you have the DPS to do so, it also means that you can just use the construct to prison the Haunting Souls. When it comes to the adds in phase 2, it basically comes down to this. If you have the burst to quickly get rid of the Dominators, have the construct deal with the Haunting Souls, otherwise kill them off. You can use slows and stuns on the souls to make sure they don't reach your group. Have the entire raid stack up on melee so that they all move in the same direction. The portals will occasionally change position, so don't be afraid to use your druid's raw to get across the room quicker. Have your tank in the construct communicate to the group when they need to kill the souls, and really put your burst damage into killing off the Dominators as quickly as possible. In phase 1, remember to move away from the prisons. If you get targeted by the orb, move out of the raid. Tank swap after 2 reverberating blows. In phase 2, have an interrupting roar going for exert dominance. If you like this raiding guide, please comment, subscribe and click the like button to help us out. If you would like to keep up with new videos coming out but you don't have a YouTube account, you can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook at twitter.com/bbmazzy or facebook.com/wowweekly. Also be sure to check out our written content on our website wowweekly.net. For now, I'm Sulia and I'll see you again next time.